When you cling to a shape, you limit yourself. When you fix your mind to a single way, you have already lost the ability to adapt. Life does not present you with one kind of challenge. It throws the river, the storm, the mountain, and the wind at you in different moments. If you try to meet each one with the same stance, the same thinking, the same rigid plan, you will break. But if you are formless, you can meet each with exactly what it requires. Softness for the hard, speed for the slow, stillness for the chaotic. Formlessness is not emptiness. It is potential. It means you are free from patterns that bind you. Think of water. It moves around obstacles without losing its flow. It adapts to the container without losing its essence. If it must crash, it crashes. If it must flow gently, it flows. Its power lies in its freedom, and that freedom comes from not insisting on one fixed way. When you approach life this way, you stop reacting blindly. You begin to respond with precision. In conflict, whether physical or in everyday life, the moment you lock yourself into a single strategy, you become predictable. Predictability is weakness. Your opponent, your challenge, or your obstacle will see the pattern and find the gap. But when you are adaptable, you remain elusive, untouchable, impossible to pin down. Adaptability is not laziness. It requires sharp awareness, seeing clearly what is in front of you and shifting without hesitation. It is not about abandoning principles, but about not letting those principles harden into cages. The mind must remain open, the body ready, the spirit calm. Then, whatever comes, you are already in harmony with it before it even arrives. In this state, you no longer waste strength resisting what is inevitable. Instead, you move with it, use it, and sometimes let it pass without a fight. You stop seeing things as good or bad in the moment. They are simply what is, and you decide what to become in response. This is how you stay unbroken in the storms of life. You do not challenge the wind head on, you move with it until it loses its fury. You do not slam against the rock. You flow around it until time wears it down. Every situation has its own rhythm, and when you are formless, you can step into that rhythm at will. To hold one shape is to be bound by it. To hold no shape is to hold every shape. Many think that power must be loud, that strength must be seen in clenched fists and forceful shouts. But the truth is, the greatest power does not announce itself. It moves quietly, like the tide beneath the surface, steady and unstoppable. The loudest man in the room is often the weakest, trying to convince himself of his own strength. Real power needs no performance. It exists without the need to prove. Stillness is not the absence of action. It is the presence of control. It is the ability to hold your ground without flinching, to wait without impatience, to observe without judgment. In stillness, you can see more clearly. While others are consumed by their impulses, burning through their energy with every reaction, you remain centered, conserving yours for the moment when it truly matters. When you are still, you are not frozen. You are poised. Like an archer with the bow drawn, you do not release until the exact instant the target is open. That patience is power. That control is strength. You understand that rushing in with force is often the surest way to be defeated, for it is easy to counter the one who moves without thought. It takes courage to be still in a world that demands constant motion. But in stillness, you are not passive. You are actively choosing your response, rather than letting events drag you into their chaos. You are no longer reacting to the world. You are shaping your interaction with it. True power comes when you no longer feel the need to prove it. When you can walk away from a fight you could have won, not out of fear, but out of mastery. The power to act is important, but the wisdom to choose when not to act is greater. Many can strike, But few can withhold the strike when their emotions are burning. Stillness gives you the advantage because it hides your depth. An opponent who cannot read you will hesitate, and hesitation is the seed of defeat. They do not know when or how you will move, because you are in no rush to reveal your intent. In that space of uncertainty, they are already losing balance while you remain unshaken. The world will try to push you into noise and frenzy, but you must resist the pull. Stay centered. Let your strength grow in silence. So when you move with certainty. And when you strike, there is no wasted motion. The quiet confidence of one who knows their own power is more intimidating than any roar. When you master stillness, you no longer chase power, you become it. Most people believe that strength is proven by how much they can do, how many punches they can throw, how many steps they can take in the shortest time. But true strength is not in doing more. It is in doing only what is necessary. The one who spends energy without thought is like a man scooping water from a well with a leaking bucket. No matter how deep the well, he will run dry before the journey is over. Every movement you make must carry intent. If it does not, it is not power. It is waste. Look at those who panic in conflict. Their bodies move in bursts, uncontrolled, frantic. Their energy burns quickly, leaving them empty and vulnerable. The one who moves with purpose, however, conserves his energy until the moment it is needed. When he strikes, he does so without strain. When he moves, it is with clarity. He does not exhaust himself on things that do not matter. And that is why he lasts longer, hits harder, and remains calm while others collapse. Efficiency is not laziness, it is mastery. It is the discipline to hold back when your instincts tell you to rush. It is the awareness to see that not every moment requires your action, and not every problem is worth your energy. This applies beyond the fight. In life, we are surrounded by distractions, each demanding our time, our attention, our strength. If we scatter ourselves across all of them, we become weak in every direction. But when we focus only on what truly matters, we move forward with unstoppable force. The key is to strip away the unnecessary. Let go of movements that serve only to show off. Let go of words that do not add meaning. Let go of habits that drain you without giving anything in return. What remains is pure, direct, clean, and powerful. In combat, the most dangerous opponent is not the one who moves the most, but the one who moves only when it counts. Every strike is precise. Every defense perfectly timed, every step deliberate. There is no wasted motion for the eye to read, no stray energy for the opponent to take advantage of. The same is true in the battles of life. When your actions are precise, you do more with less, and others cannot anticipate your next move. Excess is weakness disguised as effort. Precision is strength disguised as simplicity. When you move with intention and cut away the waste, you find that you need far less to achieve far more. The one who wastes nothing holds everything. You cannot hope to control the world if you cannot control yourself. Most people focus on influencing others, bending situations to their will, forcing outcomes they desire. But they forget that the greatest battles are not fought outside, they are fought within. It is easy to shout commands, easy to try to dominate others through fear or force. But if your mind is restless, your emotions unstable, your spirit unsettled, no amount of external control will hold for long. The one who masters himself does not need to force control on others, because his presence alone commands it. When your mind is calm, your words carry weight without having to be raised. When your emotions are steady, people trust your judgment even before you speak. The control you have within radiates outward and influences everything around you. But mastering the self is no easy task. It means facing the truth of who you are without flinching. It means confronting your weaknesses instead of hiding them, disciplining your impulses instead of justifying them. Most lose here because they try to skip this step believing they can control others without first controlling themselves. What they don't see is that the world will always expose what is unstable within you. When you cannot control your anger, your opponent can provoke you into mistakes. When you cannot control your fear, uncertainty will paralyze you in the critical moment. When you cannot control your ego, praise will make you complacent and criticism will break you. Self-control is the foundation that allows all other control to exist. Without it, everything you build is fragile. True control is quiet. It does not need to be displayed, because it is not for show. It is the steady hand in the storm, the voice that does not waver under pressure, the decision made without panic. It comes from knowing that no matter what happens outside, you will not lose your center. And when you stand in that space, others feel it. They cannot push you into reaction. They cannot throw you off balance. When you live with this discipline, you stop chasing control and start attracting it. You no longer need to impose your will on every situation. Your presence naturally shapes the environment. People follow not because you demand it, but because you inspire it. Challenges bend not because you force them, but because you remain unshaken while they exhaust themselves against you. Control over others is temporary. Control over yourself is unbreakable. When two forces collide, the weaker one often breaks, not because it lacked strength, but because it met force with force. Resistance gives your opponent something to push against, something to use to their advantage. But when you yield, when you allow their energy to pass through you instead of slamming into it, you take away their target. What they intended to crush slips from their grasp, and in that moment, their strength becomes useless. Yielding is not surrender. It is a strategy of transformation. You do not give up the fight. You change the nature of it. You take the energy that comes toward you and redirect it, bending it until it serves you. Just as a river moves around a boulder, wearing it down over time, you move around the attack, letting it lose its force without ever stopping your own flow. Most people believe that to overcome, they must resist at every turn. They brace themselves against the pressure, digging in their heels, trying to match power with power. But this only locks them in a struggle where both sides are drained. The one who understands the value of yielding knows that by stepping aside at the right moment, they remain whole while the other exhausts themselves. This principle is not limited to combat. In life, there will be people, events, and circumstances that push against you with great force. You could resist them, but in doing so, you feed the conflict, letting it consume your energy and your peace. If instead you learn to yield, to adapt without losing your core, you find that their power over you fades. A harsh word cannot cut you if you refuse to meet it with anger. A challenge cannot crush you if you flow with it, until the moment comes to act. Yielding also creates openings that brute force cannot. An opponent who feels no resistance loses balance. They lean too far forward, exposing themselves, because they expect to meet something solid, and instead find only empty space. It is in this moment of imbalance that you move, not with desperation, but with precision, turning their own momentum into their downfall. To yield requires confidence. The insecure fear that letting go means losing control, but the wise know that control is not always about holding ground. It is about knowing when to move, when to let the storm pass, and when to return with the calm strength that follows. By yielding, you remain unbroken. You conserve your strength, you frustrate your opponent, and you wait for the perfect moment to act. The soft outlasts the hard, not because it is stronger, but because it refuses to be broken. When you become desperate to win, you lose the very thing that makes victory meaningful: your freedom. Attachment outcome is a cage, one that traps your mind in fear and anxiety. You clutch so tightly to success that you become blind to the path beneath your feet, stumbling over obstacles that might have been easily avoided. When every move is driven by hunger for victory or fear of failure, Your actions become predictable, rigid, and forced. True mastery is found in detachment, not indifference, but the ability to act without being chained to the result. When you release the need to control what happens after your effort, you open yourself to flow with the moment. You become present, fully engaged in what you are doing, free from distraction by what might come next. This presence is where creativity, instinct, and power arise naturally. Imagine a fighter who wins because he is calm, not frantic, who moves because he feels, not because he plans, who strikes because the moment calls, not because he demands. His mind is clear, unclouded by the noise of expectation. He is free to respond in any way the situation requires, not locked into a desperate rush to secure a particular outcome. When you are attached to victory, you fight with tension. Your body tightens, your thoughts race, and your heart pounds with anxiety. You see your opponent not as a challenge to overcome with skill, but as a threat that must be crushed to save your pride. This tension saps your energy and distorts your judgment. You lose your ability to adapt, to flow, to find the openings that lead to true success. Detachment is not about giving up or being passive. It is about acting with full commitment, yet without the weight of expectation. It is the paradox of effortlessness, doing all you can while letting go of the outcome. In this way, you protect your mind from fear and your spirit from defeat, regardless of what the world throws at you. When you free yourself from outcome, you become unpredictable. Others cannot read your intentions because you are not driven by desperation. You move fluidly, striking when the moment is right, stepping back when it is not. You are not a slave to victory. You are the master of the fight. This attitude transcends competition. In life, clinging to results leads to disappointment and frustration, because life rarely unfolds as we expect. By embracing detachment, you find peace in uncertainty, courage in the unknown, and strength in the present moment. When you stop chasing victory and start embodying mastery, you win in ways that go beyond any scoreboard. Power is not just a matter of how hard you strike or how fast you move. It comes from the alignment of your entire being, body, mind, and spirit moving as one. When these parts are in harmony, the smallest action carries the weight of immense force. But when they are out of sync, your efforts scatter, dissipate, and weaken before they can reach their target. Think of a bow and arrow. If the archer's body is tense, if his mind is distracted, if his spirit wavers, the arrow will miss. But when the archer breathes steadily, focuses clearly, and draws the bow with calm intent, even the lightest pull sends the arrow straight and true. It is not the strength of the arm alone that determines the shot. It is the unity of the entire self. In daily life, this alignment is just as vital. When your mind is clouded with doubt or fear, your body hesitates and your spirit falters. Your movements become fragmented and your decisions uncertain. But when you bring clarity to your mind, calm to your emotions, and purpose to your actions, you move with an effortless power that seems to come from nowhere. It is a power rooted deep inside, flowing outward without resistance. This alignment is not accidental. It requires discipline and awareness. You must listen to your body, quiet your mind, and nurture your spirit. It means training not just muscles, but attention and intention. It means becoming aware of the slightest tension or distraction, and gently returning to the center where all parts move together. When you achieve this harmony, effort falls away. Actions become smooth and natural, as if you are carried by a current, instead of pushing against the flow. In this state, you do not struggle for power. Power flows through you, making even the smallest movement unstoppable. Many seek power through sheer force, believing it lies in size or speed. But true power is the ability to bring all parts of yourself into perfect alignment, so that everything you do resonates with strength. This is why the greatest fighters look as though they are doing nothing at all, because they have learned to move with the quiet force of complete unity. When your body, mind, and spirit are united, you become a living force impossible to stop or control. The power is not in your muscles or your weapons. It is in your wholeness. Power is born in alignment, and alignment is the foundation of mastery. The highest skill is to move without effort, to act without strain, to make the impossible appear natural. This is the art that separates the master from the novice. Not how hard they hit, but how effortlessly they flow. When you watch a great fighter, you do not see tension or struggle. You see grace, calm, and a sense that every movement is just right. Nothing too much, nothing too little. This is not luck or coincidence. It is the result of years of training the body and mind to move as one, to respond instinctively, and to conserve energy until it is needed most. Effortlessness is not laziness. It is a form of mastery where control and power exist beneath the surface, unseen but deeply felt. The master does not waste energy on unnecessary movement or emotional turmoil. Instead, every breath, every step, every strike is precise and purposeful. Because of this, their actions seem almost like a natural extension of themselves, as if they are simply flowing through the moment rather than forcing it. To achieve this state, you must first let go of the need to force your will. The more you struggle against resistance, the more you tire yourself out. Effortlessness comes when you stop fighting what is in front of you and start moving with it. It is like water flowing around a rock. The water does not push the rock out of the way, it simply moves around it, finding the path of least resistance and still continuing onward with power and grace. This kind of movement requires deep trust in your own instincts and training. You cannot control every outcome, but you can prepare yourself so well that your body knows what to do even before your mind catches up. This is why practice is not about repeating movements mindlessly. It is about building a connection between mind and body so strong that your responses become automatic and flawless. When you move without effort, you conserve your energy and extend your endurance. You avoid injury, fatigue, and mistakes that come from tension and haste. More importantly, you become unpredictable. Your opponent cannot anticipate your next move because you are not locked into rigid patterns or forced techniques. You flow freely, adapting to whatever the moment demands with ease. This principle extends beyond fighting. In life, the highest skill is to meet challenges without panic, to solve problems without desperation, to live without unnecessary strain. When you learn to move effortlessly through difficulties, you find peace within chaos, clarity within confusion, and strength within softness. Effortlessness is not an absence of action. It is the presence of mastery, where power and control are so natural that they seem invisible. This is the art of winning without fighting, the way of strength without struggle. True skill lies in making the impossible appear natural.